This year, World Usability Day Boston took place on November 13th at the busy South Station terminal. More than a dozen product designers and researchers helped run the event. Each table had an interactive demonstration of some aspect of usability design and how the principles of psychology are applied to product development. The Great Sock Sort, for example, demonstrates how designers collect information from users about how things should be grouped and labeled. People organize and group types of socks and then label the groups. The same principle is used to develop websites. The alarm clock rally demonstrates how designers collect performance data. People had to guess how long it would take them to set the alarm on different clocks. Then they could compare their guesses with the actual times. At the Facing Fonts table, people were asked to match fonts to different pictures of dogs in costume. It shows how fonts have different personalities and elicit different emotional responses. During the tag team game, people had to guess what picture their team member was seeing based on the one-word descriptions that person provided. This demonstrates the importance of having a good system of tags and keywords on a website. The instruction block station showed the effectiveness of wordless instructions versus instructions plus words. Doors to Usability asks people to guess which way different doors should open. It shows how the simplest devices still need good design. At the Design Hall of Shame, people could sound off about their own design frustrations.
With alarm clocks, whether they be by the bedside or on my iPod, is that they require too many steps and or they require me to cycle through a 24-hour period or a 60-minute hour in order to get the time set.
So what's the best case scenario?
So the best case for me would be minimum steps and direct input. So even if you look at Apple's implementation of the alarm clock on the iPhone, you know, there's one step to get into the alarm clock. Then they have to turn it on, so that'd be a second step. Third step is added. Fourth step, click that for some reason, who knows why. And then you have to time. And even though the scrolling wheel is sort of a direct input and a much improved interface over traditional alarm clocks by the bedside, it's still a little too cute and not quite as direct as I would like. Rather than doing spinning wheel sort of selection of time, why not just go back to the way they implemented the keypad and just have you directly enter the hour and minutes that you want to wake up, hit AM or PM, and you're done. So, in summary, I think for me, a perfect alarm clock would require direct input with minimum number of steps.
So my usability horror story is I was trying to open a Roth IRA and went to the website, opened the Roth IRA, found out that in order to get some of the holdings that I wanted, I had to open a money market account. So I opened the money market account, and the first thing that was confusing to me was I wasn't sure whether the money market account was contained in the Roth IRA for tax purposes. It turns out it was, but the site didn't really make that clear. That was the first confusing thing. The second thing was, as I was selecting the funds, it was really difficult for me to find a socially responsible fund, which is what I was interested in, and a fund that was available with the Roth IRA. I had to use two different websites to do that, check them at this third-party site, come back to my financial institution site, and see if that fund is available within the IRA.
And they told you this what you had to do, right?
Yeah, I called support and they told me, well, you're going to have to do that because that type of search is not built into the system. So once I looked up the funds on my financial institution site, It was a 3x3 table. Dimension was listing the account minimums, and the other dimension was listing the types of brokerage accounts that go into it. So, for example, with as an individual, this one fund had a $10,000 minimum, and some other category had a $5,000 minimum, and for an IRA, it just had a dash there. I thought that meant there was no minimum, but it turns out that actually meant it's not available. So that was a horror story. I had to call support about that.
So what I hope that people get out of today is that there are good designs and bad designs, and that sometimes companies will build something or put a product out there that hasn't really had a designer working on it, or maybe not the right kind of designer, and that people should be critical of the things they interact with. People tend to blame themselves when something doesn't work well, and that's not the right response. They should say, it's not well designed, and I should complain and go back to wherever they got that product or interacted with that service and try to get it fixed or improved.